Hey there, I'm Professor McBride, labor nurse, OB instructor, and your guide to everything OB. Let's get to it. The 5Ps are a way that we can identify factors that can affect labor progress. And we're thinking about our passenger, our passageway, our powers, our position, and the psyche. For our passenger, the primary passenger is the baby, and there's a lot of considerations related to the baby. Presentation, what is the presenting part? Is it a head? Is it the baby's bottom? Is it a shoulder? And that can be affected by the lie. The lie has to do with where the baby's spine is in relation to the mom's spine. So if you have a vertical lie, then the baby is up and down, same as mom. So then you're going to either have a cephalic or a breech presentation. If you have an oblique or a transverse lie, the baby is long way or a little bit offset, then your presentation is probably going to be like a shoulder. Attitude is another thing that we consider here. Attitude has to do with the way that the baby flexes or deflexes. And if the baby's chin is flexed, they're going to come through the pelvis with the most narrow part of their head. And that is what we prefer. And this is going to happen the best if the baby is also not only head down, but facing towards mom's back. And that means the baby's occiput is towards mom's front, or occiput anterior. Occiput anterior is going to give our baby the best opportunity to flex her chin, and that's going to help the baby come through the pelvis the best. So if your baby is deflexed, they're going to come through the pelvis with the wider part of their head or the bigger diameter. And that often happens with babies that are facing occiput posterior and their face is facing towards mom's front. You can also have a baby that has an extended attitude, and then you might even have like a brow or a face as your presenting part. Station is another thing to consider. Station has to do with where the baby is in relation to the pelvis. And the higher the baby is, the station is going to be in the minuses. And we use the ischial spines as our landmark for zero station. So if the baby is higher in mom's uterus, we're going to be -1, -2, -3. As the baby descends through the pelvis and passes those ischial spines, we start getting pluses, +1, +2, +3, until the baby is eventually delivered. The placenta is another passenger. Even though the placenta doesn't really cause any significant issues for labor progress, it is also going to be delivering after the baby. Our next P is our passageway. And for our passageway, we're considering the cervix, we're considering the vagina, and we're considering the pelvis. And the pelvis is the most significant consideration for our passageway, but definitely the vagina and the cervix play a role. And when we think about how dilated she is, how effaced she is, these are all parts of the passageway. For the pelvis, the gynecoid pelvis is the best pelvis for a baby to fit through. It's more rounded, and about 50% of women have a gynecoid pelvis. The other pelvic types include the anthropoid pelvis, the android pelvis, and the platyploid pelvis. And these are either flatter or more narrow. And so they are not necessarily as easy to have a vaginal birth with these. They still can, but not as easy as the gynecoid pelvis. Our next P is power. And when we think about power, we're thinking about a couple different things. First of all, we're thinking about our primary power. Our primary power is going to be contractions. The uterus is squeezing, and that's what's pushing and causing that primary power. That's not something she can control. It's involuntary. We also have secondary power. Secondary power is mom's pushing effort. So once she's fully dilated and it's time to push, her pushing effort during a contraction is the secondary power. And these combine to be very effective to deliver a baby. Position. For position, we're thinking about mom's position. And there are many different positions that we can use and consider that can help to get the baby to come through the pelvis and to help get the labor to progress, depending on what position also that the baby's in, and other factors. So, an upright position is going to use gravity to try to help with descent. And upright positioning can increase the pressure downward by 30 to 40 millimeters of mercury. So, we're thinking about ambulating, we're thinking about sitting on a ball, also sitting up in the bed. Anything squatting, anything that has her in an upright position is going to help with that descent. A sideline position is a helpful position for rest. It's also a position we use if she has an epidural. It's a position that we can use to try to create space in the pelvis if the baby needs to adjust a little bit. If we want the baby, if the baby's occiput posterior, we want them to turn it to anterior and things like that. We can use pillows, blankets, peanut balls, things to help position her in that sideline position that can also give us some progress for labor as well. And then hands and knees is another position that we can use that will take pressure off of her back if she's having back labor. That is helpful. It can also give space in the pelvis for the baby to settle into a better position as the baby's coming down. And there are a lot of different positions that we use that keep these three main things in mind. And then psyche or psychological response. So, this is going to be, how is mom coping? How prepared was she? If she comes into labor and she has not had any education about what to expect, she might have more anxiety. She might be not coping as well. So, there's a lot of things that go into that. What kind of support system does she have? Does she have a doula with her? Is her partner supporting her? Does she have other people there that are supporting her? Is she somebody that is more introverted and she doesn't want a lot of people around her? History. If she has a history of sexual abuse, that can play a role in this here. If she had a traumatic birth last time, a lot of different things can affect how she's coping. Is she able to relax? Is she tense? All of these things contribute to her psychological response for labor. So, to recap, the 5 P's are the factors that affect labor. The passenger is the baby, and it's also the placenta. The passageway is the pelvis, the cervix, the vagina. The powers include our contractions and mom's pushing effort. Position, what position is mom in? What positions do we want to put her in? What positions are comfortable? And psyche or psychologic response, how is she coping? How is she dealing? Has she been in labor for a long time? Is she exhausted? Is she well rested? Is she ready? Is she anxious? How's she doing? Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share for new videos every week about everything OB. See you soon.